Hello everyone, and welcome. Magicraft is a fantastic new game that I've started playing recently. This game features an in-depth spellcrafting system that's fully customizable, allowing you to create some absolutely ridiculous builds. If you like theory crafting builds, or seeing games get broken to the point of being completely insane, I highly recommend this one. Welcome to Magicraft. I'm super excited to show off this game. So I played a bit of it already. I'm not, real familiar with the game, but I've played enough to know a lot of the basic concepts. I've unlocked some of the meta progression stuff as well, but I'm not going to be using any of that for this first video. That way if other people are starting the game as well, we kind of start off on the same page, that type of thing. So I haven't unlocked any of the extra spells or anything yet. I have unlocked a lot of the magic progression here, which will help a lot throughout the run, but otherwise I tried not to progress too far yet. I am extremely excited to start showing off this game, because the spellcrafting system in it is something that I really enjoy as a concept, and this game is doing the concept very well from what I've seen so far. This is the type of game where you end up just completely breaking the game by doing really silly and absurd things with the spellcrafting system, and a lot of the fun of it is seeing just how far you can push the system. So the way that it works basically is that you have two different types of slots for your wands. You have stuff that are spell boosts, which are passives that modify the spells. So, for example, giving it more crit and making it scatter less. And then stuff like this that decreases the MP cost, but it makes it a little weaker too. And then you have things like this, which are projectiles, which function how the wand actually attacks. So you can see here, there's a butterfly attacking style, and then if I switch to the bullets, it's a different projectile. You can have multiple projectiles in, which will make it swap between the two. Typically, I don't end up using multiple projectiles too often, but there are use cases for them. Especially because you can get certain passives that will make it where all of your projectiles will shoot at the same time. So you can make it like shotgun effects that way. There's a really high limit of how many different build combinations you can make in this game. I've done quite a few runs already so far, and I've ended up with a different kind of build each time. So a couple other examples of things we can do with the spellcrafting system is I can put this orbit on, and now instead of chasing down enemies, the projectiles will circle around me. Range boost isn't something I can really show off yet. Spell effect radius does not apply to all attack types. There will be certain projectiles that will say they have an attack radius on it. But other than that, the spell range passive thing doesn't seem to do anything. Also, a couple things to point out. Since I am newer to the game, if I get any information I'm saying wrong, I'm more than happy with people correcting it. And I'm also more than happy with people giving just general advice on the game. I would ask that people don't talk about much of the build crafting side of things. That's something I want to figure out more for myself. I don't want to really know any of the really broken builds or anything like that. So here's another example of something we can do with the spellcrafting system. I mentioned it before, where you get simultaneous casting. So now with this passive on, it will cast up to 3 different projectiles simultaneously. So I can just fire them all at once if I want to. Now, the problem with that is that everything has an MP cost and an MP regen. So if I'm doing that, I can't really spellcast efficiently. So the boss fights in this game do tend to get a little bit bullet hell-ish. I haven't really seen anything that's too difficult yet, but I'm also only on the normal difficulty for now. So now here is another really cool mechanic of the way that this game is set up. You'll get to the point pretty early on where you have multiple wand slots, so you can have multiple builds running at the same time. And then you'll also see wands with stuff like this, where they have a secondary effect. For this wand, it charges energy for every enemy I hit. So what I can do with this is put a really low-cost thing here. We can get another laser, which will rapid fire off very quickly. Look at that! So, kind of how these secondary slots work is that they'll all have their own activation method. So, in this case, it's the wand charges energy for every enemy hit, and then the total energy required is based on the mana that it takes to cast the spell. So in this case, with a 2 cost, you can see it charges basically instantly. But if I put something like the butterfly in here that has a higher MP cost, it does take a little bit longer to charge up. So yeah, let's just run with the double lasers for now. So what happens if I put the scatter here now? Oh! Alright, well, we're probably not even like 10-15 minutes into the run, and you can already start to see where the spellcrafting can get really crazy in this game. Alright, and here's another thing you can do in these types of spellcrafting rooms. If you have 3 of the same thing, you can combine them into one. It's not always better to combine them immediately, because having 3 of them separately adds up to more in most cases in all cases that I've seen so far. But if you want to save room on slots, that's when combining them can become better. And I don't actually want this radius boost, but I combine them so that I can reroll them into another upgraded thing. And now we're going to change the crit into poison. So now we're going to be stacking poison constantly as we hit all of these tons of lasers. So yeah, we're just completely deleting everything now. Ooh, this'll be nice as well, and then we get another energy saber. So now the next time I find one of those reforge rooms, I can combine these to save slots, and then put another one on there, and then this can duplicate anything in the game at a level 1 effect. So if I put it here, it'll start duplicating the poison. If we want to go real crazy with the scatter, I can go like this. And then I forgot to talk about it, but this is another really interesting thing that you can do with the spellcrafting system. Oh my god, what's... The scatter is insane. They're not accurate at all, but there's so many of them that I don't think it matters. Get this passive right here. There's a 25% of auto-casting when using other wands, and a 20% chance of not consuming MP. So that plays perfectly into our rapid-fire laser setup here. every time I'm firing these, there's also a chance for this thunderstorm to go off. And then occasionally you'll see secret rooms here on the sides. They usually take a key to open, and then there's like a puzzle or something secret over here that you have to do for extra rewards. Oh, this will be good for me because I'm awful at dodging. And then these chests will give you bonus things, but they'll also give you a curse, which is a downside. I don't think I really care about max MP this run, because we're basically going for just having no mana cost, basically. And then I will take the reduced shop as well. Alright, let's see how long this boss fight lasts. It's not very long, I can tell you that much. And then for perfect clearing this room, I unlock a special thing over here. By perfect clear, I mean I killed the boss without taking any damage. These will cost your max HP to buy, but they will usually do something pretty useful. I really like this one, but having it at the 99 cost is just way too high. Here's another really interesting thing with the multi-wand system. So here I can take a wand that, even if I'm not using this wand for a while, it's giving a passive MP regen to my other wand, which plays into the build that I'm trying to go for this run. I hope other people enjoy this game as much as I do, in terms of, like, watching the content. I know it's a lot different from the other games that I play, so I don't know how many of my other viewers will carry over, but hopefully we'll pick up some new viewers from here too. It's a game I really enjoy the concept behind. I really enjoy playing it. So there will definitely be more to come. So here's another one of the, like, just special rooms. Sometimes you'll find them randomly. They won't take any keys, and they'll allow you to do some other stuff. So this one will allow me to combine 4 of the things I don't want into one random upgraded version. It won't upgrade the tier in terms of, like, normal to rare, but it will make it the plus version, I guess you could call it. And then we can take that plus version and re-roll it into other stuff. So we can upgrade the resonance rune that way. I also want to combine these. That way we save up an extra slot on the wand there. But I still need to improve this one just a little bit more. Ideally, I would get it down to the point of where it doesn't take any mana at all, but we're pretty much at the point of where I can sustain it for most of the time, so it's not a huge deal. We picked up another thing that might end up getting used on the third wand, but I don't have... I need to find another projectile before I can start making use of that. So my setup is a little bit bad for that room. But yeah, you can see if I attack these guys when they're in, like, a certain state, when they're in their ball form, or when they're a corpse on the ground, my projectiles actually get reflected, so it's a really bad matchup for the build that I've got going right now. I can easily just hurt myself that way. So here again, it's one case of I need to pay more attention to what's going on with the enemies, because these enemies actually do counter the build that I've got set up if I don't play correctly. So even though you can make really broken stuff in this game, there's also... mostly, from what I've seen, it's enemies in the last area actually get very strong. So here I'll swap out one of the resonance runes to give a range boost to the thunderstorms. So now if I put one down, you can see it's a lot bigger than it was before. Maybe, honestly, I swap out poison. I could put it here for later, and then maybe give this even a second range upgrade. I could maybe try to fit poison into these. I think my MP regen is probably fine, or good enough that I can do that. So now we'll be stacking the poison stacks much faster. I have an idea for the next video already. There's one of the... You can get different sets in this game, so you have different starting bonuses. And one of these sets is that you need to get 1,500 poison stacks on an enemy, which I managed to do in a run already. But I want to make a video showing how to get that. Yeah, I think changing the poison over to, or having some poison on just my base attack too, was a correct option. Let's see how fast this boss goes down. So this boss is pretty interesting. There's two versions of it, Type 1 and Type 2. One will show up earlier in the run, and one will show up now. It completely mimics your movement, so what you want to do is you want to try and walk back as far as you can, as long as you have the range to hit it, of course. I don't think this charge is actually worth it. I think having the rapid fire was working much better. But it's good to at least show it off for a room. I'll try to show off at least an example of almost everything I find this run, since it's the first time I'm showing off the game. And then videos after this will probably be a lot more specialized, where I have more of an idea of a theme I want to do for the run. Also, one of the reasons I'm able to do this build is because this wand has no cooldown on it. If I were to try and put this on a different wand, there would be a lot more delay between each of the laser attacks, so you'd have to look for a passive that has cooldown reduction on it. Which is possible to do. I've made builds similar to this that have just ungodly amounts of attack speed without using this specific wand. Which is how we're gonna do the video where I get up to 1,500 poison stacks as well. Okay, here's the potion that I thought I had early on. It takes away your HP, but it gives you a permanent shield. So we can go with Shadow Serpent and then another thing of poison. And then we can put this down here. I guess we could also just go a full laser build at this point. With more poison lasers. So here with this wand, what I've got it set up for is another thing you can do with the multiple wand system, or just in general, is you can get summons. This is an interesting version of a summon, too. It summons these books, and then these books will automatically spellcast whatever spell I have to the right of it. So in this case, they will be casting lasers for me, and they will also be applying venom. So our venom is going to be stacking extremely high very quickly, too. Also, another thing with these is that their MP regen, so basically their casting speed in this case, is tied to the wand itself that it's on. So putting this MP regen here helps out with the summons. And then I also have it where the summons will orbit around me instead of chasing down enemies. So I do have to resummon them each room, but it's not that big of a deal. Especially with the wand having some decent MP regen on it, I can just summon them and have them right away. Your summons can take damage, which is... they can end up dying, but they can also absorb hits for you, which can be very useful. Oh, by the way, something I meant to mention at the beginning of the video, but I forgot about, is that I have the game audio for this completely muted, if you're wondering why there's no game audio. So anyways, back to what I was saying, I've muted the game audio completely because having really repetitive sound effects, especially when they're going off this quickly, can get really annoying. I don't know if it affects other people the same way as it affects me, but having really repetitive sound effects is really grating on my ears. So the way that I'll do these videos is just mute the game audio entirely and then have some of my own music playing in the background. So by the way, if you see a chest like this with spikes on it, it will take some of your HP to open, but it'll give you free stuff without needing a key. Did I? Oh, I see what's going on. I might have to take I'll probably have to take the orbit off of my books, actually. My summons. It's applying to their projectiles too, which makes sense, but it's just something I didn't think about when I set it up. Ooh, this is perfect as a relic for what we're doing. Increase all wands' secondary slot charge efficiency by 20%. When it says secondary slots, it means these slots, which have a condition to fire off. So now it'll be even easier to set off all these bonus laser projectiles. Alright, let's take this off. I don't think you can give stuff like the summons or the auto-casted stuff the charge effect. But I guess what I could also do is, if I do put the charge effect here, I can just summon all three of them automatically, which in this case doesn't actually matter, because I can summon them back to back right away anyways. I could just do the energy saber, that would let these guys cast the lasers even faster. We might replace this wand. This wand isn't doing a whole lot for us right now, and also if I put this wand on, I can fully automate the third wand instead of having to do the summons manually. And you can see we have yet another source of just a billion lasers getting spammed out. I want to reroll this. See if I get what I'm looking for. I will take that, and then we can reroll this as well. Okay, we'll get a third of that. And then we can reroll the charge. I want to reroll rares in specific, is what I'm doing right now. Okay, perfect. It's not the one I wanted, but it does work as well. So what this does is make the spell track your mouse cursor. In my case, I'm playing on controller, so it's a little different. They'll just kind of go where I'm... On controller, you can use right stick to aim, or if you're just not pressing any right stick direction, the game auto-aims for you. So for all intents and purposes, this is just auto-aim now. We could also put butterflies on here, which would be pretty funny, and just completely fill the screen with them. And the boss fight should not really be able to put up a whole lot of a fight at this point. And there's phase 1 down already. Yeah, we're already up to 400 poison stacks. 500. We'll probably hit at least 600. No, we're even gonna pass 700 before the boss fight ends. Hey guys, post-commentary Fury here. I played out more of the run, but decided to end the video here. I wanted to keep this video on the shorter end as an introduction to the game and its general mechanics. There's also a bit of growing pains going on here with switching over to a different game, so I don't feel the rest of the run is worth showing. I'm not used to edited down content, but it feels a lot more necessary here, so it's something that I'm going to need to think about when it comes to implementing my commentary style. I like to make my commentary and videos focused on the educational side, so I always want to be including things like explaining my build path and the mechanics behind it as I go. But I'll also need to think about not stopping too often to explain things to the point of dragging down the pacing, or spending more time explaining things than showing actual gameplay. This is something I'll have to experiment with and work on balancing in the next videos. I hope this one was at least a good introduction to the game, though, and that people are interested in seeing more. Because I'm definitely interested in showing off more, it's just going to be a bit of a learning experience with probably some growing pains on my end. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.